Hello everyone, in this video we'll be solving Swayamwar problem from Mockvita 2. Without getting late, let's get started. The problem is Swayamwar. There are n number of brides and grooms in a Swayamwar formed in two queues. There are two favorite drinks for every bride or groom. They are rum and mojito. Either a bride likes to drink rum or mojito. Even a groom likes to drink rum or mojito. The inputs are n representing number of brides or number of grooms. Number of brides are always equals to number of grooms. And the second input is a queue formation of the bride's favorite drinks. And the third line is groom's favorite drinks as a string formed in a queue. How a bride chooses a groom. There are few conditions while choosing a groom. Always a bride gets to choose first. Especially the first bride in the queue will get to choose first. And he looks at the first groom and checks whether the bride and groom likes same drink, then they will get married. Otherwise they don't. If they don't like the same drink, then the groom will go back to the queue and the next groom will come to the front. And now the bride again checks if they both like the same drink. If they both like the same drink, then they will get married. Otherwise they don't. Again this groom will go back to the queue and the next groom will come front. And this procedure happens until the first bride gets married. If the first bride doesn't find any groom with same favorite drink, then rest of the brides will not get married. So you need to count the number of pairs who are not married in the final case. So let's see some test cases and analyze how the output is going. Let's say the bride's queue is like this, RM RM, and the groom's queue is MM RR. So the first bride likes rum and the first groom likes mojito. So they don't get married. The first groom will go back to the queue and next the queue becomes MRRM and again RM doesn't match. So the groom will go back to the queue. Now the queue formation will be RRMM. RR will drink the same flavor. So RR will get married each other and come out of the Swayamwar. Now the bride queue becomes MRM and the groom queue becomes RMM. M will not marry R. So R goes to the last of the queue and the queue becomes MMR. MM will get married and come out of the Swayamwar and the queues becomes RM and MR. R will not marry M, so M will move back to the queue and the queue becomes RM and both the queues becomes RM RM. R marries R and come out of the Swayamwar and M marries M, come out of the Swayamwar, and there are 0 pairs left to get married. So the answer is 0. Think of the other case where you will remain with some pairs. Like say you have two queues like bride's queue as MRR and groom's queue as MMM. Now the first bride will marry the first groom as they like same drink. MM will get married and come out of the Swayamwar. RR MM will be left. R will does not marry M and even the M moves to the last of the queue, again M will be coming. So the second groom also likes mojito. R doesn't marry M. So this bride doesn't marry anyone and the rest of the brides too. So these RR will doesn't get married and these MM will doesn't get married. So there are 2 pairs left to get married. Your answer is 2. We'll start solving the problem. So first we'll take the input. Let's say n be the number of brides and grooms. N is equal to n of input and brides stores the string input of bride's queue and grooms will store the groom's queue input. Just for confirmation, print the input whether you are getting or not, to check whether you are getting or not. Brides, grooms, and just run it. So let's say the input is 4, RM RM, MM RR. So you are getting the input, right? And next, how do we solve this problem? There are 2 solutions I can suggest, but we will discuss one solution in this video. The second solution you can try on your own. First, you store the input as strings and you use string rotation concept while iterating brides to check whether a bride has a perfect match in the groom string or not. If they have, then you'll remove that character from the groom's string. Get married, you'll remove that groom while iterating the bride string. If the bride has a perfect match in the groom string, they will get married and the groom will come out of the queue. So you have to remove that groom from the string. Otherwise, if the bride doesn't have a perfect match, you will break the loop and print the remaining grooms. In that way, you can actually print the answer. And the second way is you just convert these both the strings into lists and you iterate the bride's list, and for every bride you will check if there is a perfect match in the groom's list. If there is one, then you will remove that one groom from the list and you will continue the process. Otherwise, you will break the loop and print out the groom's list length. That is another way you can try. I will solve this problem with the first procedure. Let's start iterating. For B in brides, if B in grooms, then let's take the groom's index. X is equal to grooms dot index of B, and you need to convert these grooms to another groom string which doesn't have the perfect groom as she get married with the bride, right? So let grooms is equal to grooms x plus 1 plus grooms x. You are rotating the string and you are removing the one single groom from the string. Else, break the loop, print the length of the groom. That's it. So simple question. Execute the program. Let's say input is 4, RM and MMRR. Answer is 0, right? And again test for the opposite test case where you can remind with some pairs of brides and grooms. Let's say RM MMR. So 2 pairs are remaining, right? As you have R only once in the groom's list and M has 3 M's, so M will get married and this R doesn't get married as there are no R remaining in the groom queue. So these both brides will not marry. You will be reminded with 2 unmarried pairs. That is the answer. If you like this video, do share with your friends. If you haven't seen my video on how can you crack Codevita 2020, I will leave in the card section. If you are enjoying this video, a sub would be amazing.